redefining co-working.
Exceptional offices for every business.
This summer, eSpaces expands with 2 premier locations.
Cool Springs at Corporate Center and Brentwood at City Park.
Explore the private offices, team suites, and fully equipped meeting rooms.
Opening July 2025.
Limited spaces are available.
Schedule your private tour now at espaces.com and be sure to check out all 15 locations at espaces.com.
That's espaces.com.
espaces.com.
I think college kids should be paid to play, right? Like their days, it's not like a normal college kid. They don't just get to go to class and go home and study. And it's like, dude, they're, whether it's baseball, football, whatever, it's like, it is a thing. It is a job when you're in college. And so do I think those guys should be compensated for that? Yeah, they can't really go work or do whatever. So I think they should make enough money to like get them through whatever. I think there should be some sort of cap on that. It's awesome that they.
What would you say if somebody wanted to come to you and go, we want to do a reality show at your house?
They have already.
Yeah. Oh, it's happened
multiple times.
Are you serious?
Yeah. And I remember pulling in backstage. We're opening for Tim McGraw. Tim's got all his buses and trucks and stuff back there, and I just remember going, man, how do we go from our thing to this thing? And I remember Kevin going, 3.5 minutes, man. You just need to write 3.5 minutes, meaning it takes one song to change the game.
The Try That in a Small Town podcast begins now.
Try that in a small town. And we are back with another episode of the Try That in a Small Town podcast, coming to you from the Patriot Mobile Studios. It still sounds good. Kalo, Thrash, TK. I'm Kurt, and tonight we got the OG, the good one, the great one, the Peach Man.
We're starting with the nicknames. I know there was a couple you guys were talking about nicknames on one of the episodes, and we never got to yours, I don't think.
No. We think it's Daryl.
It's close. It starts with a D.
So, yeah, there is a nickname.
Yeah.
It's not flattering.
That's great.
No.
There's a nickname that's
You got,
been around.
You got,
It starts with a D.
You got,
yeah.
You got Tick or TK, we call him. You got Kurtman.
A lot of people say
Corn.
Kurtman.
Kurtman's a big one.
Yeah.
Do is the other one.
Do.
Yeah,
You should give
Kurtman
people
Do.
how that came about.
Yeah, tell you
It's a
those
long
stories.
I like
story.
Do.
Dude's kind of cool.
It's like Loretta Lynn's, husband.
Yeah,
That is his nickname.
Do.
Do? I think his was Duel.
No, it's Do.
No, I think it was
Do?
Do. Uh-huh.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Do.
Yeah, I just remember it being like Tommy Lee Jones in the movie. But go ahead.
It might have been the way she was saying
Here's the
it.
way she said it.
It's the way she said it. Was so country.
Do.
It's like, do.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So how did Kurt get the name Kurtman or Do? How did Do come
Actually,
about?
you remember it. We were in a car with
A record
Lee
rep.
Adams.
Lee
Very,
Adams.
very fuzzy.
It's pretty fuzzy.
Well, we had been on the road. We were delirious. We had been on the
Yes.
road it was like during the radio tour type stuff and, early days. And I don't know what it was, but totally got on this thing about Happy Texas.
I was, probably very hungover or drunk, depending on what time of morning.
Probably, yeah.
I can't remember exactly, but it was some sort of fake story. I was made up this.
You were just coming
alter
up with
ego,
a bit. Yeah.
This
From
bit
Happy
for Kurt.
Texas, Kurt Mandu. We did this.
From Happy
Remember-
Texas. Yeah, Kurt Mandu.
Kurt
And he
Mandu.
did this in the car for hours, like 2 hours. And so next thing we know, everybody's calling Kurt Do. Kurt Mandu, Kurt
Mandu,
whatever.
and it got shortened to
So
Do.
everybody,
Or Kurtman.
yeah, on the road, everybody's got a name. J.A., Peach Band,
I don't know if Kurt wants a nickname.
Thrash,
Yeah.
Kalo.
He has the
I don't think he wants one, though. He didn't want tattoos.
None of us want them.
He doesn't want it.
I didn't pick mine and go, if I'd have picked it, it'd have been some shit
Yeah,
like
Thrash is better than Peach.
Maverick.
For sure.
That's
That's mine. Wait.
Iceman.
I'm Maverick.
Goose. You're Goose.
I've always been Maverick. What are you talking about?
And this is our life in a nutshell.
We'll talk about that off air.
Hey, what I think we kind of breezed by this in the last episode, I guess, but we had our 1 year anniversary as a podcast, which is pretty cool.
It was
pretty amazing.
Yeah, cool.
And
We made
Jason was obviously our first guest, which aired a year to the day. So we got to ask you, A, two-part question. Did you think that we'd last a year? B, because you actually watch, which I think is pretty funny.
Yeah.
You'll watch some of our episodes. Who did you like watching us do? So did you think we'd last a year?
I think in the beginning, it's like you guys are going to do a podcast. And I think in our world, you know, I mean, this is a business of ideas, right? So like everybody's constantly, hey, I'm going to start this company and I'm going to do this and I'm going to start a podcast and I'm going to, you know, go host a show and I'm going to, you know, there's a lot of that. Obviously, I know you guys. And so I'm like, I think this will be cool. But like anything, it's getting it out there, making people aware that it's out and just, you know, things like that. So, you know, I think for me, I thought it was cool you guys were doing it. I don't think I really had an understanding of what that was going to look like until I came in the first time. And it's like, oh, okay, this is going to be fun. And so even now, like, I like podcasts, man. I'll drive around, drive my kids to school and throw on a podcast and listen to it, you know, and you know, I just listened to the one you guys did with Cletus, which I thought was great. I've known Cletus forever. We actually came out of the same nightclub, the Buckboard in Atlanta.
What?
Wow.
Cletus that's where he kind of got his start.
Yeah.
That's where Michael Knox discovered me, was in the Buckboard. Darren Norwood came out of there. Who else, man? I don't know. It was like, that was kind of like a little hot spot back in the late 90s, mid-late 90s. And so listen to Cletus was awesome. Obviously, Hulk Hogan, one of our idols, you know, as a kid of the 80s, like Hulk Hogan was the man, you know. So got to be friends with him and to listen to him on the podcast was really cool. You know, I don't know. I mean, there's been a lot. Cash Patel, man. Cash was really awesome to have on. And
So glad he was an Aldean fan.
oh, yeah. Listen, that's how we knew. That's how we knew he was a cool guy.
Right.
But no, you guys have done awesome, man, and it's been really cool to watch it and kind of be on the first one and watch it take off and watch everybody else come on board. And you know, sometimes you guys get people on here that I'm like, how did you guys pull that off? Man? That's pretty impressive. So.
Well, we say that you'll go do something for them.
Yeah. You have a lot of benefits.
It's coming.
In
It's
different areas.
So,
I'll take it for the team, boys. It's fun.
so cool time. We are gearing up for the new tour, which this one's cool because it's 20 years since the Hicktown album, single album.
Your hair
did
still
you
looks
think we
great.
were going to last? That's the question. Like we talk about this a lot, like making that album. I know we all thought, God, will we get to do this again?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, during Hicktown, yeah, I think it was.
Well, just making the album.
Yeah.
If you remember, like before anything had come out, I remember sitting in the studio that we still sit in today, thinking. I remember like playing, thinking, "Wow, this is really cool. Will we get to do this again?" And so, here we are.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I mean, you go back, it's 20 years since we, you know, dropped that album and Hicktown came out and all that. You know, I think it came out in April of 2005 or something like that. But so 20 years. And I think when we went in to make that album, I mean, we had already been in there cutting demos and kind of doing that thing. And it's like, so for me, cutting the album was like, I was excited to feel like I was working towards something, like it was something that was going to be out, right? Because we had always been cut demos that we were trying to get a deal on. And so you pitch those things to the label and then you go play them for mom and daddy and everybody at home. And then other than that, nobody's hearing it, right? So we were cutting an album that people were going to hear. And, you know, I just remember thinking, I thought in my mind, like what we were doing was cool. I think we probably thought it was better than it was at the time. You know, I think it was different at the time, which was kind of what set us apart. But I think we were all still kind of learning. And, you know, even though we had all kind of done our thing individually, it's like all of a sudden we were all kind of coming together truly as a band and like trying to figure this out. And so I think that took some time. And, you know, cutting the first album, I didn't know what to expect. I was like, man, this has just been, you know, I'd had record deals and lost them. And, you know, here I got another one. We're cutting it. I'm like, is this thing ever going to see the light of day? I don't know. You know, this could be another thing where it just goes away or they decide, this record sucks and, you know, we're not going to do this or whatever, you know. And so for me, I mean, until that single hit radio and like the album was in the store and people could go get it, it was like, I tried not to get like too wrapped up in, I got a record deal and like, it's going to be awesome and whatever. It was like, it was still like we had nothing. We had a record deal on paper, but no hit, no money. still starving. You know, it was like the record deal really didn't mean anything to me at the time until we could get out and have a hit and start going and like really.
Because you'd already been in town and failed for a while. You had a deal previous to that. So I think you kind of understood, hey, there's still stuff to happen here.
Yeah, I mean, getting the record deal is like the tip of the iceberg, right? Yeah. Like you get that and that's cool. That's a start. But then, I mean, you got to have the label behind you. Like they got to be interested in what you're doing and feel like, you know, you're bringing something cool to the table and really get behind you. And we've always had, you know, the staff at Broken Bow that's, you know, been incredible with that. They've always been on board with us, and you know, they didn't have a choice. Shit, we were the only artists there at the time. You know, it was like us and you know, Craig Morgan had a couple hits. Sheree Austin had a couple hits, but like past that, like they didn't have a flagship artist for the label, and they were just trying to get that label up and running. And you know, here we come along, and it's like, well, I guess we'll put it behind this guy, and you know, and it just. You know, we just had a great team around us, and I think for the parts where we were kind of lacking in the early days, we had a really good team to kind of pick up those pieces. And once we got on the road and started doing our thing, it's like we were always confident in that part of it. Like going out and playing live, it's like if you give us a hit, we're golden. We just didn't have a hit, you know. And so when Hicktown became a hit and that thing started to build, it was like, okay, here we go. And then we just kind of refined it over the years as we went.
Did you listen to the Michael Knox episode?
I did.
You did? How accurate? How accurate was it?
This is great.
I'd say Michael's is 85% accurate or so. There was some details I was like, I don't know.
Well, it's a long. In fairness, that's a long time
dude,
ago.
But I've known Knox for 98, so 20.
Yeah. God, I love him. Yeah, I love that dude.
8 years, so whatever. Like, I mean, hell, you know, I've known Knox over half my life. You know, he's the guy that brought me here, and he's the reason I know Tully and Kurt and you, and you know, it's just like the dude changed my life forever, and you know, I'll say this, you know, I came to town and as a kid from Georgia that was doing pretty good down in the clubs in Georgia and Florida and felt good about what we were doing, felt good about myself. We were building a little following and starting to get some heat. And then I come to town and I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be, you know, pick up where I left off down in Georgia and Florida. And it's like, nah. You know, it was a whole different thing. And, you know, there was a lot of people on board in the early days that were excited about what I was doing and all that when I lost my deal and those kind of things, those people kind of peeled off. And Michael was the only one that kind of stayed there and saw it through. And it's like, hey, just lost that record deal. We're going to go get another one. We're going to keep going in. And it's just like that relentless attitude, man. And that was something to me that I needed at the time. And I don't think like, you know, we would be sitting here if his mentality wasn't like that. So, I mean, I owe that guy everything. But his story is about 85% accurate.
Well, you know, what I love about starting, every year we get to start a new tour, and I always think about the same thing. And you kind of just talked about a little bit. You know, the years before we made that first album, you know, and we talk about doing showcases and basically trying to get a record deal and playing for labels. Playing a lot of the same songs. We were playing Amarillo Sky and Y and Johnny Cash.
And you got to remember too, like prior. We look awful. I mean, listen, this isn't like what you see now.
What do you mean looked awful? What are you talking about?
We did not look good. Like you know, it wasn't a thing where we were getting like our clothes tailored and everything. Look, I'm up there in a baggy ass, you know, button up shirt and like, it's like, man, this is kind of the vibe, but like I don't have the money to go get my stuff tailored, so here it is, you know. And like these guys, I mean, Kurt in the first or second video had a pair of Chuck Taylor Converse that he wore and all the time, and they were splitting open. He had duct tape wrapped around them, and you can see it in the video. Like, and that's where we were at the time. It wasn't
to be cool. It was
rock and roll, man.
So yeah, it's not like now you go out and see, and it's like, oh, this is a really refined version of like what we do. Back then, it was still kind of rough, and you know, it was like it took somebody to see that and go, "There's something in there." I don't know. It's cool. There's something in there. And Knox was, you know, he was kind of that guy for me. And then ultimately, Benny Brown at Broken Bow, saw something we were playing one night, and that was that. So
I love those days though, because I feel like, we were struggling then, but something about looking back on it, where like beginning of every tour, like God, like it always feels the struggle is what I think about the most now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and really.
Well, I think
respect it.
Yeah, I think it's just being thankful. Even though to sit here and say like, man, it was 20 years ago we were getting started and we put out this and we were playing all these, crazy shows or whatever. And I think now it's just thankful. It's like 20 years in and we're still able to go out every year and like, have this new rig and this new tour and keep like creating this stuff every year to go out and play our songs. And, it's cool, man. Like, I don't know. I mean, I think that's what we always wanted to do, but it's like, hell, everybody wants to do that, but there's like this 1% of people that get to do it. And for whatever reason, we're in that club, and so every year it's pretty cool to, unveil all those things and go, damn. And then look and go, man, the first 10 shows are already sold out. So there's that. And then, it's like, man, 20 years in, we're still, people still care and we can still go do this. I think that's all we ever really wanted to do. So, yeah, I'm with you. I mean, it's always cool to get started for the start of the tour.
Yeah. And it still blows my mind that we have catering after 20 something years. I remember, I was telling someone the other day, like, I think it was Keller, actually, my son was saying, oh, food's always so good. I'm like, back in the day when we first started, we were doing 200 shows a year, and you guys know we were playing bars on a Friday night, maybe a fair somewhere on a Saturday.
You're getting chicken fingers from the bar and fries and like.
We ate Subway
a lot.
It was like 15 days in a row.
It was Subway,
which we thought was healthy
or barbecue.
Healthier at the time.
That hate worked for Jared.
We can't talk about him.
Well, other things messed him up. That wasn't the Subway sandwiches.
Yeah.
Things went dark for Jared.
Yeah, Jared. He's got a Netflix special and everything.
Now, I started to watch it and I had to turn it off. That's too much.
I've not seen
it. It might not be on Netflix, but it's on one of them.
Yeah. No, but seriously, like we're eating, and that, I mean, to now, it's like, holy crap. Now, it's still amazing and so fun. And it's such a proud moment to think, oh, we've been doing this together for so long, and we got to where we wanted to go. But I know that we still have that feeling of like, I don't want it to go away.
Well, and I think
it's the secret sauce.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. It's like, there's this fine line of going, hey, this is what I always wanted to do, and we did all that stuff. There's most of it we've done, and then there's also that side of like, man, I want to create music and keep doing stuff we haven't done and go out and make the content for the shows different. And every year it's like they're getting a different experience when they come to the shows. And I think for us, it's always been focusing on music, making sure like as we get older in the business, like to try and keep the music still cool and stuff that, I don't know, that we would say or that we would do, and we're not going to do songs like Hicktown and those kind of things that we did when I was 28. I'm 48 now, so we did a lot of those things, which I probably wouldn't cut now, but I feel like the stuff we do now is some of the best stuff we've done, like some of the coolest songs that we've cut, and so to me that's a big part of it, and that's always what makes everything else go. So as long as we're cutting great records and cool things and creating these moments, the shows and people being interested and staying involved in what we're doing, that kind of stuff will just come as long as we're doing this other thing. And that's kind of what I've always tried to focus on.
I remember watching, sorry, Caleb.
No, go ahead.
I remember when we were opening for Rascal Flatts, we had Gary on here. Mm-hmm. And I remember very clearly watching their show after we played at 7:00 and played 4 or 5 songs. And at that point, they were firing.
Massive. I mean, they were one of the biggest bands in the world.
Mm-hmm. They were firing. And I remember, I think we're all sitting watching this. I remember saying, man, could you imagine like coming to an arena that you're headlining? And it's still like just sitting here with you guys. It's like, that's what I still get off on that. Like, the grind was so I wouldn't change a mile of it.
No.
Not 1 mile of any bus ride, or anything, or van ride, And that's what's great about the business.
Yeah. And I think that's where, like, as bandmates, as like, brothers on the road kind of thing, like that's where you learn to, like, that's where you gel. When you're staying in the crappy hotel rooms and you're wheeling your luggage down, A1A to go to a place to take a shower because there's no place at the venue and we're all lugging our shit down the street. It's like, you learn to, like, pride becomes a thing of, like, you don't have pride in the daytime. You just, there's only like an hour and a half, 2 hours a night
where you're cool.
And I think, like, you just live with everybody. I mean, we're on the road 250 days a year or whatever it is. And it's like, you just get really tight and learn to, like, I mean, it's family, and so, I don't know, for it to start kind of like it did and us to still be, like you were saying, like with, Rascal Flatts, I remember walking out and just going, man, like even though we were close, like we were playing on the same show and whatever, it was like, this is a different thing. And I don't know how to go take us from Hicktown and Y to, what hurts the most. Obviously it was a song, that was their big one that really launched them into the stratosphere. And, like, we're sitting there on tour with them watching that, and I'm like, man, we aren't there yet, and I don't know how to get there. And I remember asking Kevin Neal, who has been my agent forever and just, like, OG fam guy that's been with us from the beginning. And I remember pulling in backstage, we're opening for Tim McGraw at Tampa. At the Ask Gary Amphitheater, whatever that thing's called. Yeah. And so we pull in, Tim's got all his buses and trucks and stuff back there. And I just remember going, man, like, this is ridiculous. Like, how do we go from our thing to this thing? And I remember Kevin going, or I said, what does it take to go from our thing to that thing? And he's like, 3.5 minutes, man. You just need the right 3.5 minutes, meaning it takes one song to change the game. Yeah. And when She's Country came out, man, that was the one. It lit the fuse for that. And then that album had some big ones on it. And then we followed it up with My Kind of Party record and Night Train. And it was just like a rocket after that. So, I think we didn't know how to make that happen. And then all of a sudden we were just like strapped to a rocket in the middle of it. It's like we didn't even see it coming, really.
But all those showcases, what I love thinking about, though, for like 10 people sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
15 people.
You're stretching
it. 2 people. Or maybe it was 20, then it went down to 4.
Record companies would come in. It'd be like the president of the record company and, like, it'd be like Tony Brown, Larry Willoughby, and then one other A&R person. Go in, you play a couple songs. I'd watch them talk to Knox for a minute, and then they'd leave. And you're just like,
we haven't got to our.
Hey, I'm assuming you're not in. Like, not
leaving the first song sometimes.
But we never stopped performing, and I think what that set us up for was those years of opening and playing clubs. Because even when Hicktown was moving up the charts, we'd still, like, we may play a market one night where it's a packed club. But then the next night, there could be 50 people there. So I think it set us up for, like, we played every show, this is what I'm most proud of. We never took a night off. You never took a night off. You never mailed one in. And I think that's...
Well, I think it was a different time, too. Yeah. I mean, I think at the time we came out, we didn't have social media and all that stuff to kind of, like, help the process. It wasn't like, hey, we're in Owensboro, Kentucky tonight, come see us play. Like, we didn't have that. So it was like, you had to do it grassroots style. You had to go out and play a bar and just punch them right in the face. So they would go and tell all their friends, holy shit, you guys missed this. You got to come see these guys. And then the next time we come back to town, it was just constantly hitting them over the head going, hey, if you missed it last time, you better come this time. And we would ramp it up every time. And as we started getting a little bit more of a following, I mean, on stage, we start getting a little bit more swagger and, okay, we got a couple hits now. We can, you start to turn that corner a little bit and, and we just had to do it that way. We didn't have another option. So You know, it was getting your songs played on radio, trying to get a video on CMT, and going out and just playing as many shows as you could, and basically just not coming off the road, which is what we did for a few years. So,
Well, I was kind of curious about, because you mentioned making records and stuff. Like, let's say you're, you know, a couple singles deep and you're thinking about recording a new one and everything. In your mind, are you thinking about, because not everybody does records, you're still cutting records and everything and putting a bunch of songs on there. People are just releasing stuff, just putting it out. Do you have a theme? Do you think, hey, I want to do this? Or do you wait to find a couple songs that, like, okay, I love this, and you build something around it? Like, what's your mindset on a new record?
Yeah, the way it's always worked for me is, like, I've never gone in and went, oh, I want to go cut this really artsy, you know, bluegrassy country record kind of thing. Like, we don't do that. Like, for me, it's songs come in, and I just have, I don't know. Like, for me, I just have this thing. When I hear the song, I'm like, I love it. I want to listen to that song again. I feel like I could sing that. Like, I feel like, you know, it almost feels like a song that I wrote. Like, that's how I feel. I love the melody. You know, I can do that. And I want to hear that again. I want to play it over and over and over. When I get those songs in, they go in a pile. And so it's never really about, like, what the album looks like. It's just one day I turn around and there's like 15 songs in that pile. And it's like, okay. And then some of them may fall out. I'll be like, that one's kind of getting old. Like, I don't, you know, it'll kind of fall out and whatever. And then at the end of the day, you're left with these songs that I've just kind of accumulated or found, or these guys have written, or we've written, or whatever. And then you look over there and go, all right, let's go cut all this stuff. And then we go cut it all, and it just turns out the way it does. You know, it's like, it's nothing, you know, I don't think we ever overthink that stuff or sit there and go, oh, we need this or we need that. Or it's like, man, I like that. That's what I want to sing. I think that'll be cool for a record, or that'll be cool for a live thing, or whatever its lane is, you know, for that record. And there's things that I love and take in there. Knox hates. There's things I love these guys don't really like sometimes. But I think for me, those songs in my mind, if I cut a song, if I go in, spend the time to cut it, sing it, spend time on it, to me, it has a place somewhere. I may not always know exactly what that is, or, you know, we may not get to it at some point, but to me, it's like, hey, that thing's good enough to cut. And, like, it could have a moment somewhere, and I don't know what that looks like, but let's cut it. It's good enough to cut. And
I think anything I've ever had cut that you've cut of mine, you were never in mind, ever.
When writing it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was never, because
you guys were writing for people that were bigger.
Well, no, it didn't. No. You're wrong. No, it was about. It was just about writing.
You didn't start writing for me until I had hits.
Hey, Neil,
I should have kept my damn mouth shut.
Neil, start.
Where else
start
you
over.
gonna go with this?
Start over.
No. It was about writing a good song. We didn't have anybody in mind. Nobody. It was like, I've had co-writers go, hey, what's Aldean? What's he want to say? And I go, I don't know what he wants to say.
To me,
never have.
To me, it's
I never have.
To me, it's things, you know, that I can relate to, or things that, like, you know, I'm like, oh shit, I love that, like, you know, that little trill, or that, you know, that melody, or whatever, that bridge, or whatever it is. And then it's like you start breaking down the song, and it's like, you know, I feel like that's something I would want to get in the room and write, or, like, you know, be a part of, or, like, I don't know. And so when I hear those songs, it's, I mean, like, Try That in a Small Town. I mean, I don't even think I heard the whole song. I just heard, like, a verse, chorus, stopped it, called them, like, hey, we're cutting this thing, like, soon. Like, I mean, and I immediately started sending it to everybody, going, hey, this is our first single off the record. You know, and we had never even cut it yet, but I'm like, this is a single. We need to get a video going, because I just knew, like, that was a song that was going to move the needle. Like, it, you know, it was touching on a subject that I was passionate about. That was something that, you know, I felt like needed to be touched on, and I felt like, man, somebody's going to come out and say this. And
well, no, we did say there's only one dude that will ever cut this song.
I didn't even listen to the whole song.
There's
I
only
didn't even
one
listen
dude
to the whole
say
song. I just, you know, I heard the gun part, and I went, oh, they'll probably, you know, say something about that. But here we go. And that was it. But it's like, when I hear those things like that, it's, you know, I mean, we got things we cut for the new album, and it's just like, I get in my truck, and it's like, I mean, they're on repeat, and I just don't get tired of them. And to me, it's hard to find those songs. because I'll get tired of them quick. I play them. I mean, I have to play them to learn them. And so I'm just like, I want to play them a lot. And if I still keep liking them, I'm like, all right, I got to trust that. That's a gut instinct thing. I got to trust that. And if it's one that I'm like, this one's in the pile, but I keep skipping over it, I'm like, that's one I need to look at and go, man, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think that one's going to, like, if it does something, it's going to be an album cut. It's not going to, and I know that going in, right? So,
give people a little insight, because, we were talking about Hicktown. That was 20 years ago. We have been recording a new album this year. Can you give people any kind of insight, what they might expect for the album coming up? Anything to look forward to? Any kind of secrets?
We got some stuff going on, there's going to be some duet stuff on this record, multiple duet things, I think. Breaking news right here. You guys heard
exclusive.
But we've been working on this. Yeah. Writing for it. These guys have been writing. We've been writing and, recording stuff for the last 8 months or so, something like that. I don't know. But, we got some duets on it, and I think, we're kind of at a different place.
You're not going to name names?
No,
duets?
I don't think it's time for that. I gotta get some of these people on tape before I start going, so and so's doing the song. They're like, no, I'm not. So, but we got some cool things like that, and like I said earlier, man, I think like some of the coolest songs. And I feel like, I'm at a point in my career and what we do that, certain songs that I probably would have cut back in the day, a little tongue in cheek or like whatever, and put these things out and go, I wonder if that, this is kind of quirky. That might be, I think we're at a different place now where it's like, we want to like put out just things that we think are really cool, that we want to go out and play, that fire us up to get on stage and go, hey, this isn't these kind of songs. It's a different era, I think, for what we're doing, and really cool stuff, man. Some of the stuff we got on the album is like throwback 80s stuff, and then there's some really like progressive stuff, and it's kind of like, if anybody's bought one of our albums over the years, you got everything from country, rock and roll, R&B, hip hop, blues. There's a little bit of all of it, and I don't think this record's any different. I think it's a lot of that, but I think there's some pretty strong ones on this record. I can't wait.
You could give I'm sorry, Kurt.
No.
You could give a masterclass and should to young artists about really paying attention to your fan base, because I've never seen an artist more tapped in, which plays in the try that in a small town thing.
Yeah.
But, tapped into who your fan base is and how to grow it, but also how to keep it. And I think
we just be honest. I think
young
that's
artists
the thing.
They get too wrapped up with what's so and so going to think on Music Row, because that's the issue. Like, find what you do, go out and do it. Don't chase the trends. Experiment when you can.
Yeah.
With success gives you a little bit more rope. But also when to dial it in, I think it's a really a lost art. Like, I think the new artists.
Well, I've never had anybody go in and like pick my songs out and go, here's your record. Like, I just don't do that. You know what I mean? Like, A&R people, I don't know. Like, they're great, but except for, to me personally, when it comes to picking songs, I trust Michael Knox kind of gets, and we're not always on the same. These guys get it because they played with me for so long, and we kind of come from the same background, so they know like if it's something I would say or not say or whatever. But it's like, I just don't trust people to go and find those songs for me. I just don't think it's going to happen, because they're in this town. Everybody comes in, I found the so and so wrote this huge hit and they play it for you, and I'm like, no, that's not even an album cut for me. And but they're trying to sell you that it's a big hit, and it's like, I've done this long enough to know when one's badass and one's not, and so I just, to me, like, that's a really important piece of the puzzle, because without that, the touring and all the other stuff, that doesn't happen. Right. So coming down to songs, making sure that at least the core you got. I always like to make sure we got about 6 or 8 things on the record that are like single worthy, that I know I'm pretty good with putting any of those 6 or 8 out. You know, they're pretty solid. And that's kind of how I've always done it. And, you know, I think as we've gotten older, these guys have become better songwriters, which is, you know, they used to write stuff and send to me, and I'd be like, nope. That ain't it.
Is that the biggest surprise of your career, that these two guys have gotten better songwriters? Is that the biggest surprise?
I'll tell you what, it is a blessing.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's been a blessing because honestly, like when they first kind of started writing, and Tully and I started writing together in 99, we started, you know, writing songs and stuff together. They weren't good, but we were writing them, and we cut a few of them, and so, you know, but I think at some point these guys would write stuff, and they started trying to, you know, get some songs on the album, which was great. You know, I mean, anytime you don't have to go looking for something, you got guys coming in going, hey man, here's a badass song, and check this out. Sure. That's a great thing for me. But in the beginning, when they would do every now and then there'd be something cool. Like Kurt had, They Don't Know, I think it was a single for us, Kurt had at one point. And then they kind of started writing some things that were coming in, and it's like, that's cool. But in the beginning, it was like, no, that ain't it. That ain't the one. And then every once in a while, they'd get one in, and then they'd get 2 in, and then 4 in. And then now it's like just essentially a collaboration. You know, these guys are writing every day for the record. We're bouncing ideas around all the time. And it's just kind of become a different dynamic now, which is really fun, I think, for all of us to kind of not only record it and get to go play it, but to, like, you know, us write it and just kind of have it all in house with our little crew that we started with. Like that's a cool thing, I think, for us.
Yeah,
it's amazing. Hey guys, stick with us. We're gonna get a word from our sponsors. We're with Jason Aldean. This is a Try That in a Small
AKA
Town.
the Peach Man. We'll be right back.
You know it. Thank you, Peach. I should have had you bring us out.
My name is Glenn Story. I'm the founder and CEO of Patriot Mobile. And then we have 4 principles. First Amendment, Second Amendment, right to life, military and first responders. If you have a place to go put your money, you always want to put it with somebody that's like-minded. Of course. I think that's the beauty of Patriot Mobile. We're a conservative alternative.
Don't get fooled by other providers pretending to share your values or have the same coverage. Go to patriotmobile.com/smalltown to get a free month of service when you use the offer code SMALLTOWN or call 972-PATRIOT.
You know what goes great with small town stories?
Original Glory, America's beer right here.
You know, I've been drinking this every songwriting session today.
Man, that clean, crisp taste reminds me of summer nights on the back porch after a fresh mowed lawn.
And they're just not making great beer. They're investing in America's small towns.
Well, it's just like us. They believe in bringing communities together.
Not only do they invest in communities, but a portion of each sale goes to the veterans and the first responders and all the heroes that protect us.
For a limited time, you can become a member of the OG fam and invest in this beer at wefunder.com/original brands.
Join our Original Glory family and help ignite that Original Glory spirit. All right. We're back. This is a Try That in a Small Town podcast. We got Jason Aldean with us.
Because you guys couldn't find it.
Artist of the decade.
Oh,
wow. Who'd you bring?
Don't be clapping. I'm only here because I couldn't get anybody else to come on board. I'm who they call when nobody else will
Who's a
answer.
sympathy guest?
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Hey, we can't get anybody else on. You mind coming over and hanging out? So here I am.
Well, we're thankful.
Thank you.
We're also thankful for our sponsors. We got the Original Glory beer and all its glory right there. We got Patriot Mobile. We got eSpaces.
I got to say, I love Patriot Mobile.
Yeah, they're doing the tour, right?
Yeah, man. What a cool thing, man.
So check this out. We got a new sponsor. This is brand new, breaking news.
Really?
Yeah.
This is good stuff, and it applies to us. Have you heard of the Wellness Company? The Wellness Company, and I know you have.
Yep.
No, I do know, but I'm trying to know.
So if you want just whatever supplements, you can go to their website and get that, or maybe metabolism boost, you can get that. But they offer this medical emergency kit, and this is good for us being on the road, and we will have these on the road.
Oh, yeah.
Because it comes with the Z-Pack, amoxicillin,
that's a game
ivermectin.
changer.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
No doubt.
Yes.
So it's the Wellness Company. If you go there, put in the code SMALLTOWN, because
You get a double Z pack.
hey, but
we get complimentary packs. Kalo's already bought his.
Kalo's already in.
We've got one in each car and at home. Yeah.
We're laughing, but seriously, as like entertainers on the road, I mean, I can't tell you how many times like we're on the road and my kids come home from school, they're sick with something, and I get a cold, and we got stuff to do. I got to play shows, and so I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've had doctors come out and be like, here's a shot to get you through.
I need a rock doc.
I need a rock doc. Actually, Route 91, I had one that day. I had Doc Johnson came out in Vegas and, hit me with an antibiotic and that kind of thing. And a lot of times it's like, hey, here's a Z-Pack. Get started on that. And it's to the point now where we're like, we almost keep them on hand just going, hey, I know I know if I get like a head cold or sinus infection or something or like a bronchitis, whatever, I'm like, Z-Pack. And you don't use them like all the time, but it's nice to have them so you don't have to go to the doctor, sit in the waiting room, wait for 2 hours to get in there and go, I just need a Z-Pack, man. And then, so
and
that's
people
awesome.
don't realize, I mean, we have to work every night. There's no taking a night off. Hey, I don't feel good.
My stomach hurts. I can't play kind of thing. Like,
no, you're playing. So this is a great thing. Go to the wellness company, put in the code small town.
Call the wellness company with Patriot Mobile.
See?
While you're drinking that OG.
Come on.
He's got to tie them all in, boys. I'm here, I'll help you guys out.
That's why you're here. Wow. That's amazing.
That was impressive.
Drink beer, call the wellness company.
I love it.
That was impressive.
With your Patriot Mobile.
Where do we want to go? Who's got something? Where do we want to go? Kalo?
Well, we were going to talk football.
You guys are
for a
so
minute.
unprepared for me.
No, we're not either. We're just trying to decide what we want to bring up next.
Well, I got this. We've been talking a little bit about the Titans, the draft. They just got Cam Ward.
Screw the NFL. Let's talk college.
Oh, come on, real quick.
Well, the draft just happened, so I get it.
It just happened. First of all, Cam Ward, wait and see, or do you like it?
I think it's a wait and see. Yep. I mean, I think all these guys coming out of college, they all have a lot of hype around them. And, no question, they're great athletes and whatever. But, I mean, you guys are sports fans too. I mean, until they get in whatever that team system is and it either clicks or it doesn't. And then.
It wasn't the best quarterback stable coming out of college.
No.
Well, so let's get to the other one.
I feel like we got the best available.
I
for
do,
sure.
I do too.
And I feel
agree with that.
They tried to get some weapons for him too, and that's the other thing.
I think Jackson Dart's going to be something special. I really do.
Really?
I do. No, I do. I think he's cut out for the NFL. Milroe is not from Bama, and I'm a Bama guy.
Well, let's get to the big one.
Seattle.
I mean, he's not going to make it in the NFL. He's not going to make it.
Hey, let's get to the big news. The big quarterback is Shadur Sanders. Yeah. That was the big news of the week.
That's the big story.
Yeah. So what do you guys think what do you guys think the thing is? Because here's the thing. I'm a Georgia guy, right? I remember when Deion got drafted by the Falcons. He played for the Braves. Like, I'm a Deion fan. He brought a little swagger to Atlanta that they had not had. I mean, up until then, like, our big guy was Dale Murphy. You know what I mean? Our quarterback was Steve Barkowski, I think, back in the day. And, like, Deion comes to Atlanta. He's got a little flash. He's got a little swagger. And it brought that whole thing kind of to
Shadur
Atlanta.
ain't no Deion.
Well, no. However,
go ahead.
I know that Deion was representing his Shadur as like his agent, right? Like that was the thing.
So that's the problem. It isn't that the player has swag. You now are dealing with
the dad
and the agent.
For sure. So. And I think that's a situation where, I think it gets a little weird when it's like, well, I don't want to play for that team. I only want to play for the, New York team or a LA team or that. It's like, I mean, I grew up playing sports too. And that was, music was a hobby. Sports was like my passion growing up. And had I gotten drafted to play baseball out of high school, I could have been drafted by the worst team in the league. They could have given me a damn Snicker bar and a bus ticket and said, hey,
sounds good.
Go to wherever Texas, and you're going to start playing rookie ball there. And I'd have been stoked, right? And I think that's the difference. I think it's just, being honored that a NFL franchise would want to draft you and like make you part of their team and give you that opportunity, I think is a huge deal. And to go into that stuff going, I don't know if I want to play for that team. I don't know if I play for that team. It's like, I don't know that was the case with him or whatever.
Do you
but
think it was retaliation by the NFL or collusion to say, hey, don't draft this kid. He's trying to,
I don't know. I mean, I will say this. Everything that I heard going up to it was he was a first rounder, at worst a second round pick. And for him to slip as far as he did, it just tells me like there was other things. I mean,
let's go ahead and say it. It's fine.
I mean, it just says like there's teams that are going, man, I don't know. It's an attitude thing or it's dealing with his dad or we don't think he's our guy or like whatever, or we just don't need a quarterback. And, that's the other thing. There's a lot of teams, that really don't need a quarterback that don't want to spend that money. So, I mean, you got a handful of teams that are going, we're kind of trying to figure it out. We could use him. Maybe he's our guy and whatever. And, you're trying to land on one of those teams.
Look at the Patriots back in the day. Look at them.
That's a different deal. Brady
I'm just talking about locker room. I'm not even talking about on the field. I'm talking about before they even run out on the field. It's the locker room. And I think Shedeur Sanders was going to be bad for the locker room. Brady was the best thing for any locker room in the history of football.
But I think he probably grew into that too. I mean, you got to grow into that. You're not going to come out of college and go in and take over a locker room. You're going to go in and want to fit in.
I'm not talking about,
as you prove yourself, you kind of take over the locker room.
I'm talking about being a teammate. You can tell.
I've never been I don't know. I'll have
the guys that think about themselves only, and then the guys that think about the team. You have that or that, and the results speak for themselves.
Well, I don't know.
Is he even good enough to
I feel like it was weird.
I don't know.
I feel like it was weird because he was projected to be a first rounder at latest, a second rounder, and
Some
for him to
people had him
fall
at number one.
It was almost like, oh, we're going to show you, and so I don't know. Like, I don't know what it was. And then of all teams, the Browns, who have like the worst record in picking quarterbacks ever.
Yeah,
They're like, okay, we'll take a quarterback because shit, one of them's got to hit at some point. So,
because they took the kid from Oregon like the round or two before, the Dylan Gabriel. I don't know if you guys know who he is, but they took him.
Manziel, Couch. I mean, they've
Deshaun Watson.
They didn't draft him, but he's there. He was great in Houston.
Yeah.
I mean, he's also had a lot of off the field issues.
Well,
but
he had a massage or two go wrong.
Achilles, he's got stuff going on.
Yeah, I'm
rubbed his Achilles too hard.
Hey,
I don't know.
I'm a Bama guy, and I would have taken Shedeur over Milroe.
Same.
I would have done.
Yeah,
I would have taken Shedeur over Milroe. I would have.
I think Shedeur was probably the second best quarterback in the draft. I think he's better than Dart.
I'd give him third or fourth.
Again, I think it's like you got to. What system is he in? Does it click with him? Does he have the weapons around him, offensive line and all the stuff to protect him? It's just a lot of those. You can have the best quarterback in the world. You put him on a shitty team and they can't get it done.
That's right.
Well, NFL too, especially. I mean, he doesn't look like an NFL QB to me.
He's like a new age though. He's like a Lamar Jackson. Like they like to run it around and throw.
Have the mental side of it though, because that's the other thing too. Like Brady, like you can watch. I love this part about Brady because he knew what was going to go on.
Oh, yeah.
He's a freak though. He's just a freak.
He put the time in. Like he knew how to read the defense. He knew what he was going to do, which made up for his. He was slow, never ran, never
lack of mobility and
stuff. But he knew like he would step up into the pocket under trouble and just figure it out. I don't know if Shedeur is going to have that side of the game.
Okay, I'm just sitting over here. Kalo's kind of silent.
Are you not a sports guy?
No, he's a UT guy, and he hasn't brought up Nico.
He doesn't have anything to cheer about.
He hasn't brought up Nico yet.
Nico's gone.
Well, yeah, but I mean that wasn't the conversation.
You know what you should be doing for that? Clapping. You should be thankful.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Be glad you got rid of him.
I wanted to hear what your take was on as a UT fan, a
my takeaway
bleeding orange fan
would bleed into everything you guys were saying. It's a locker room thing. If Nico would have stayed, bad for the locker room.
Yeah.
And same with what you were saying with Shedeur, like the locker room thing. I think sometimes people don't want to deal with that, and they don't want to mess with all the other players. And all the other players, especially QB, You know, if they don't like that person as a personality, I mean, in any business, and NFL is, I know sports, but it is a business. And if you are not likable, it is very difficult to be successful.
That's a fact.
Yeah, and I think college football anymore has gotten to the point where when you're bringing these kids in, you almost have to make sure they check all the boxes. Yes, they're a great player, but they're also they're good for the team. They're, a locker room presence that comes in and, because that's the thing. You can have a stud on the team that does Georgia had one, Carson Beck. He's supposed to be the greatest guy. The locker room, from what I hear, was they just weren't behind the guy, Gunnar Stockton comes in and all of a sudden they're like, that's our guy. We want to get behind the, and that's the thing. You got to have a guy in a locker room that's sort of the no bullshit guy that's hey, I'll see you prancing around over there when you score a touchdown. Don't do that shit. That's not what we're about. Whether he's the quarterback or the damn whatever, and so I think every team has to have those guys because the coaches aren't around. They can't handle it all. Sometimes it has to come within from the team, from the players, and you got to have those guys on every team. Is Shedeur that guy? I don't know. I don't think so, but I think it's also being in the NFL, getting around guys that are he's different too. He's had a pedigree, an NFL pedigree. He's grown up around that, so it's not like most kids where they're like, holy shit, this is the NFL. He's like, I've been doing this. I've been around this my whole life.
But these teams, these owners, these teams, they want to win at all costs. If they thought he had it, he would have not slid to the 5th round.
But it's also
they want to win. If they thought he had some hidden, it was going to blow up and be the best thing ever, they would have taken him. There's something that's not,
whether it's his attitude or however he handled interviews and things,
it's not his athletic ability at all.
Dealing with the guy on the field, no question, he's got skills and he's great, and but aside from that, what are you going to bring to the table?
So was Nico. Nico was a stupid, talented kid, but UT handled that situation exactly. I love how
they did, and they handled number wise, he's very talented, but he was ranked in SEC. Not even halfway through as far as his numbers go. Very talented, and
it's the rest of Tennessee. We know. Listen, no respect.
We'll be right back. We'll be right back after this message from Patriot Mobile.
But that's a guy. It's anymore college kids. And granted, I'm on the train with I think college kids should be paid to play, right? Their days, it's not like a normal college kid. They don't just get to go to class and go home and study. And it's dude, they're, whether it's baseball, football, whatever, it's it is a thing. It is a job when you're in college. And so do I think those guys should be compensated for that? Yeah, they can't really go work or do whatever. So I think they should make enough money to get them through whatever. I think there should be some sort of cap on that. You don't have one guy making $6 million a year, and then his offensive line, the guy that's protecting, is making $50 grand.
There's no cap. No. I don't even know what
not currently.
And
I was going to say
the fact that they let this happen and didn't see this coming, and knew that it was going to get out of hand, and knew that it was going to be all this switching. You got to be smarter.
What did you have, Neil? You have
something? I know that Trump and Saban had a little meeting.
Oh, I saw that actually.
Yeah, they had
one of those guys.
We don't know. I know.
Let's play a game.
You love both of them. You just
I do not.
You just wish
I had a chance to meet Nick Saban in Augusta, playing Augusta National, and my caddy goes, "You know who that is in front of us? That's Nick Saban. You want to meet him when we make the turn?" And I said, "No."
Why? Why would you? What's the problem?
Listen, I think he's a great coach.
Seriously, I know. What's the problem?
He does nothing for me. He did a lot of great things for Alabama, which means
why is it all about you?
To me.
But he's a great leader.
It's about me when he goes, "Do you want to meet him?" And I said, "No, I do not." That's how it.
Well, what if he wanted to meet you? He loves music. He probably loves your music.
Listen, I hate Steve Spurrier too. I did, and then I met him, and I actually thought the guy was.
So
great.
You haven't met Saban yet. You'd probably love him.
Could care
as
less.
A person.
Probably hit it off with him.
God.
But do I have a desire to go
your red and black
tell him what a
has darkened
great
your heart so
coach he is?
bad. Your red and black has darkened your unbelievable.
Oh my God.
Good God Almighty! I love the sports Aldean better than the music Aldean. I love this.
Let's go to another.
I would rather talk sports with him. We could talk sports with Aldean all day long.
Let's just don't
And I
talk
love
about
it.
Braves. They started 0-7.
Yeah. Let's go to another coaching legend. I'll guide this to Tully. What's going on with Bill Belichick?
He's having a great time.
What are you talking about?
What the hell are you talking about? 6 rings, 25-year-old girlfriend. What's not right with? I mean, crazy.
Coming from Tully
I don't
Kennedy.
understand why everybody's giving him a hard time. Like,
I don't either. I don't get it.
I mean,
like he's put his time
It's his
in.
own.
It's a little weird. It's a little weird.
maybe she's a little bossy, but
I saw a picture. Somebody,
lot of them are,
Somebody
man.
posted a picture in 1999, and Bill Belichick was a full-grown adult, and somebody's holding this little infant, and that's his girlfriend. I think it was 99, and it was.
That's pretty
I
wrong.
saw
Yeah,
it, and I'm
that's-
like,
That's wrong.
I can't look at
Look,
that.
she's 25. She's 25 or 26, right?
Yeah.
Look, he deserves to do whatever he wants to do.
Oh God, here we go.
listen, I say if Bill, if he's got something in common with that 25-year-old girl, hey, explore it. You know,
Explore the studio space.
you never
Oh
know.
my God.
Hey, but in the meantime,
They both dye their hair. That's all they have in common. That's it.
listen, I don't know. I just know he's awesome. He's a great coach. I don't even like the Patriots, but he was a great coach, and
Great coach.
Well, you said it.
he ain't hurt nobody.
He ain't. And
You know?
Don't change the subject.
I'm not. I'm just gonna.
No, I wanna stay on this subject, actually.
He is the greatest.
You're saying that because you're a Patriots fan.
No, Saban's the greatest, not Belichick.
Cowboys fans would say Tom Landry's the greatest.
I think.
They would-
I think
they-
it's hard not
I mean,
to
you
look
haven't
at,
even
at
Kenny
Belichick,
Rogers
though.
is the greatest.
No,
First concert ever.
Right?
Belichick is
Not
the
wrong.
greatest because the way he won those Super Bowls. Like he really. I mean, it was a system like great defense all the time.
I would
Great
say Don
defense.
Shula's the greatest.
See?
Here we go.
Well, you would.
He won with different quarterbacks.
I'll say so.
I cannot say that Dan Reeves that closed the Falcons was the greatest.
Now, are we talking about like all sports? Are we talking about like college, NFL
Vince
as
Dooley.
as a collaborative? So you're going to put somebody above Bear Bryant? Seriously?
Who's Bear Bryant?
I mean, lightning just struck
Joking.
your house.
Wow.
Alabama's got a great history. Bear Bryant's. I think you have those iconic guys.
Yeah, I don't know.
Belichick's-
Vince Lombardi. I wasn't around, so I don't
Same.
know.
I love what I do love. I love football. I love talking football. DraftKings can't get here fast enough. Everything.
Can
football
we
season.
start playing DraftKings on golf or baseball or soccer?
We did it. We actually tried
But I
it,
do love
yeah.
the greats. The Shulas, the Belichicks.
Yeah.
Like I mean, how can you not?
Does
The
Aldean
Tom
know?
Brady's.
Does Aldean know about our match, our golf match?
I've heard you guys talk about this.
Well, maybe we should.
You
Maybe
gotta include me in this.
Oh, you
Yes,
you
you can
want
be
some? You want in?
Yeah.
You know, Neil.
But I
maybe
mean,
we
who's
should do
the
this.
teams? I feel like
Because I think this is the way to do it. Because
It's me
Cletus was
against
on
them.
here. Neil,
Yeah.
you're basically scratch. Cletus is basically scratch. You guys are on separate teams. You divide all of us.
then we're the kids on the playground and like don't want to get picked last.
Especially me.
We'll all be
You're gonna
last.
get picked last.
But I mean, those should be the teams. Then we'll do whatever.
Yeah. Just split you and Cletus up.
Or we could all be against you still.
Well, we talked about like just having you guys and whatever your handicaps was. I give you strokes
it's a lot.
on each side, and that's fine.
I don't know if I even have it. I mean,
It's
I have a
okay.
handicap.
I'll give you a
So is
stroke
it,
every
what is
hole.
it, you three and Cletus?
Against Neil.
It's not fair with Cletus because
Well,
he's
if Cletus were on that team,
because he's a
you'd have
stick.
to
Well,
handicap
yeah,
it.
he's
Cletus is a stick, and I'm like, that's okay. Now we're not. That's
Why don't you do you and
it,
how
it
about
defeats everything we're trying to do
Should
here.
be like you and somebody against Cletus and
That's what I
the
was saying.
rest.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know how Caleb.
But
I don't know what you play.
I hadn't practiced in 4 years.
Why don't
so I'm
me-
like
why don't-
I'm bogey golf.
Why
I'm
don't
a
me
bogey
and you
right now.
play them three and Cletus?
Hold on. What was
Well,
that?
you still need strokes.
He gets
you can't-
strokes.
Me and
He gets
Neil
strokes, too.
against you guys and Cletus.
Okay.
I mean,
What?
I mean,
just have
really, it's you against Cleveland.
just have to
We're just there.
no one's
You
gonna
may
use any of my shots. the whole day.
I'll let you read my putts.
I can't see the 5 of y'all riding in one golf cart together. I just can't see.
Well,
it.
you're about to.
Surely we get two
Listen,
golf carts.
that's minor detail stuff.
No, you have to handicap it right. That's what it's what it's
So
for.
if you're
you know?
involved, you're gonna have. Can you set it up at Troubadour? Or do you want to play here?
Let's play here. I feel like I play at Trouba all the time. Unless you want to play at Trouba.
I don't
we
care
can go
where we
there.
play.
I can do either one.
It's a ball and
I
a
haven't
hole.
played here in
I don't
years,
care.
though, so I play here.
Is there
Probably
drinking
probably here.
involved?
Yes.
Yes.
No,
Absolutely.
okay. No, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I mean, if
I
that's
really
something
like
you
the
want to
drinking
do.
situation at Troubadour.
Yes.
Yes. Tully.
You don't have that here, though.
What?
We create that
No,
here.
there's
We just
not.
bring a cooler.
We don't have the amenities that they have at Troubadour.
Yeah, this is a private course.
So is Troubadour.
This one's like, shirt and buttoned up and all that. Ours
You can
is,
wear
you can
flip-flops.
overalls
Yeah, this
up there,
flip-flops.
This is
barefooted.
McCabe's.
Flip flops.
Yeah.
And speaking of flip flops, has anybody ever seen Michael Knox in flip flops?
No.
No, only New Balance white tennis shoes.
Dude, bathing suit. White New Balance and a tank top. Walking on the beach. I don't know that I've ever seen his damn feet.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Probably.
I don't know. I don't know
how we got
Dude,
here.
hey, if anybody from New Balance tennis shoes is listening, my producer, Michael Knox, has paid your bills for a long time. Sending that man a fresh set of just solid white leather ones.
And Motorola, because he still has the flip
Oh, still got the flip phone. Right?
Still does. I admire that, though.
He still does like the T9 texting.
I admire it.
So I saw this on Facebook the other day, so it has to be true.
Facebook.
Are you still in that massive lawsuit with Whoopi Goldberg? I think it's up to $10 billion. What are you suing her for?
I mean, I saw that stuff too. I didn't sue those people, but there was some stuff said, I think, during that whole thing when the song came out, like just, their interpretation of what they thought I was and all that thing. Sunny hosting for the most part. And I feel like I coulda,
Yeah.
I definitely coulda. And I just feel like if you're watching that show, man, whatever. But I mean, I can't even have that argument with you. If you're watching the show, we have nothing in common. So
That's a fact.
but yeah, I mean, it was one of those things where I don't know, but I don't know.
She literally-
What did it say I got? How much?
No, it's a lawsuit. You sued for like $10 billion. Like it started
No,
out.
I would. If she had $10 billion, I'd definitely sue her ass for
I
that.
don't think she has. I wouldn't think she'd have.
But I don't think
10
I'd get
billion.
it, so it's kind of a waste of both our
She
time.
called the four of us racist. So, I mean, it's like we want some of that.
Oh,
How do we get in on that?
And could
checking.
it,
I'm just checking.
poor you, Thrasher.
and if there were a fallout like that was unexpected, could it somehow benefit our podcast? I mean, I didn't know, because it's pending and there's lawyers and there's a lot of expenses. I get that, and I'm not asking personally.
If I thought I could get $10 billion out of her,
Yeah.
like hell, we'd shoot our shot. But I don't think
Life would be a lot easier for all of us. I just really would enjoy.
Did they sing?
yeah, hey,
did they
well,
sing
keep me
questions?
updated
Yeah,
on
I
how
will.
that lawsuit's
I look at it
going,
every
you know.
morning, and I'll keep you posted.
Let's pivot. Let's try to get in a couple questions. We had a lot of people.
Did some of our listeners send in questions? Oh,
They never
Yes,
send
your
me
listeners sent in a question.
Now, we don't know what it's going to be, so bear with me.
it's grown quite a bit since you were here last.
Hey, Lena, do we have any of that tequila up here? I don't know how much longer this podcast is going to go.
Yeah.
Your husband
What's up,
keeps.
guys? Smitty with Country Chord. I got a question for Mr. Aldean. So what I want to know is, are there any plans to take the older records that are not currently on vinyl and put them on vinyl? And if that answer is no, how do we turn it into a yes? All right, guys. Love the pod. Appreciate it.
Smitty, so Country Chord, give them a follow.
Good
They're
question.
great
Yeah.
on Instagram.
They actually are really, really good.
They're really good.
No, they've always been really cool to us at Country Chord over there. To answer the question, the vinyl thing with our albums, it's weird. I feel like we first started making records, those albums would come out and, I almost feel like they were still on cassette back in the day, but they weren't. But it was like all CDs and stuff back then, and then it kind of went to streaming, and then all of a sudden it was like, you know, I don't know, a few albums in or whatever, all of a sudden they started printing vinyl albums again, like going back on that, you know. So like all of it's like half of my catalog kind of has the vinyl records now. But to go back and do like, you know, like My Kind of Party, we never did a vinyl for that, you know. It would be cool. Like it would be really cool because but I feel like when we were doing it at the time, there wasn't a market for that. Nobody was really.
No, it was very niche.
Yeah, and I feel like it's kind of become a thing, you know, over the last I don't know 8 to 10 years maybe, but.
I feel like I've got a big green tractor 45.
45.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that was the first time, because I remember thinking, man, I used to listen to little 45s in my room all the time.
And you got,
there you go.
Trash.
That Old Boots, New Dirt might have been the first vinyl that we did.
Okay. I think it was.
And I
wrote that
always wanted to, yeah, you did. Well, I was going to say I always wanted to make the albums look cool, but this one's like super basic.
This one has not been opened.
That one is like
And it
clear
will
with
not
some
be
brown
opened.
on it.
Yeah,
like,
nice.
Try that in a small town sticker here. I think vinyl is so cool. It's like artwork now.
Well, this is how I grew up listening to music too. Like
Absolutely.
my dad had a record collection, and I would go, you know, plug the 1/4-inch cable in with the big ass headphones, and I would sit there and, you know, play, and then you could see the little grooves in the record where you could skip to the next song, and it was like, I don't want to hear those two songs. You know, you learn how to. It was our version of a CD player when we were growing up.
I just loved
you know?
opening everything up and seeing, you know,
the writers and who played on everything. But a lot of people don't, you know, that's the thing. It's like, we're such nerds about that stuff. You know, we take an album like this and we open it up and we want to look at everything.
It's awesome.
And see who wrote it and, you know, the thank you. I mean, I spend time like, you know, thanking all the people for stuff and who played on everything. And nowadays it's like, people don't care about that shit. They're just like, I want to hear that song. And, you know, they don't care who played on it or any of that. That's kind of,
and that's sad.
Our thing, I think, and I think there's still those people out there, but mass majority of people like.
Dude, I used to read the credits on old rock records when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. I read everything.
Oh yeah,
everything, and I think people are really still interested in that.
I don't know.
We just don't give it to them. I think they are. I really do. I'm serious.
Well, we talked about this with John Rich.
Music is such a, to me. You know, I always say, like, if somebody goes and spends $20 million making a movie, right, and then they're not just going to go, hey, I spent $20 million making this movie, I'm going to put it out on Netflix so everybody can watch it for free, right? Like, at some point, you got to try and get what you got in the movie out of it. Mm-hmm. So you put it in theaters and people pay to buy a ticket to come watch that. And then maybe you put on pay-per-view and people buy, you know, you try and get somewhat of your money back. And it's kind of the same thing with a record company. And so, you know, you make these records and then it's just like music, I think, has been, you know, over the last probably 15 years has kind of been made to be like music should be free, whether it's writers or artists or like whatever. And it's like, dude, it takes a lot of money and a lot of stuff to like create these records, and we're just going, hey, here, go listen to this as much as you want for a penny.
Well,
you know,
that's the problem. I remember going to buy a record, cost $18 or CD, and when you bought this feeling when you bought it, okay, you own that now. Mm-hmm.
And I would play that thing a million times,
and it was yours. And I feel bad that people today. You're right. They don't.
It's so disposable now.
Yes.
Oh, it's just music. Well,
it's so easy. You get it on Spotify. It's like, oh, I want to hear the new, you know, Morgan Wallen song. New song. Boom. Pull it up. You're playing it. You don't care who wrote it or like, you know, what the story is behind it or who played on it, who's playing the guitar.
Yeah, we were kids and we couldn't wait to take this out of the jacket.
Yeah.
Put it on and listen to it and actually soak it in. You'd soak it in.
And you could tell.
Nowadays, you don't do that.
Well, and our thing was like, I remember for me, like pulling out stuff and you'd have like Brent Mason playing guitar on something. And then you'd have like, you know, somebody else playing on this and you could tell the difference. And like, that's how that guy plays and that's how that guy plays. And, you know, it's like you're studying it all, where I think nowadays it's just like, hey, throw that on. It's cool. And then nobody really gives a shit who played on it or like, you know, whatever. It's just, it's cool because it's hot right now kind of thing.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I'm a writer now, so now I pay attention to it. But when I was a kid, I didn't look at that stuff. I didn't think about it. If it was George Strait singing, I'd assume George Strait wrote it. I didn't think anything about it. You know, then you move to Nashville and think, oh wow, you can make a living doing that. Just didn't process it. I just don't know if a lot of people even process it.
You know, back in the day, like, I mean, James Stroud was producing everything. Clint Black, Tracy Lawrence, Clay Walker. I mean, all the stuff that I was digging, it's like every time I looked at something, it was like James Stroud, Byron Gallimore. They were producing all that stuff. And so then you deep dive in and like who's playing on the records and like shit, it was like always the same guys. And you're like, these guys are the ones creating this sound that I think is so cool, you know, and those producers knew how to get that and kind of built that team around them. And I think that's kind of a thing for us growing up with CDs, jackets and stuff. It's like you're sitting in there listening to the record and you're also reading like who wrote it, and you'd see like, you know, Ashley Gorley wrote 10 of the songs or whatever, and you're like, damn, that guy's killing. I always see that guy's name or whatever. And I don't know, I feel like a little bit of that's lost now for sure.
I remember this feeling like a book when I would open it, especially these double albums and stuff. It was like a book, and I would read it all. I would. Yeah. I would come over here and look at who the players are.
I think you're just staring at my picture.
It's starting to be
I would look at this picture and I go, why didn't he shave that part of the hair off his chest right there?
Probably.
So it wasn't in the picture.
Yeah. You got some creepers. And I hate shaving. That's why I never look clean shaven.
Hey, you guys want to do another question?
Yes.
I would love to.
He's going to love that answer.
Hi, my name is Mark. I have a question for Jason, Tully, and Kurt.
Oh.
How was Trump's inauguration? You guys looked and sounded great, but I want to hear your side of the story.
Okay,
yes,
Mark.
Okay.
We
Good
did,
question.
Mark.
We did look
and sound great. I have to agree with you on that. But I'll say this about playing the inauguration, man. I thought it was cool. Obviously, I don't think it's a big secret that, you know, I'm a Trump fan. I love what he does. I think he's my kind of president. You know what I mean? And so he's a friend, and it was an honor for us to get to play that. You know, it was something that I actually made the call and said, hey, you know, this is something that I want to be a part of. I want us to be a part of, and if there's any way for you guys to include us, let me know. And they called, wanted us to play, and you know, I think for us, I mean, 20 years on the road, we've done a lot of stuff. We played Grammys, we played all of it, you know, like every award show, we've played stadiums, we've done duets, we've done it all. One thing we had never done was play for a president, you know, and so to do that, you know, I think for us as entertainers, it's like it's another box to be like, man, you know, this crazy life and career we've had, like we did all these things, and there's another box we checked that this is a bunch of reject kids that played, you know, learned to play instruments, and we're like, this was not supposed to happen for us, and here we are doing it, and it's cool, you know. Yeah. So to me, it was an honor, and it was cold. And
it was better than Billy Ray Cyrus's performance.
I will say this, man, it was electric around that place when we played that, man. Yeah. It was so cool, just the atmosphere that night, and being there and being part of it was awesome.
It was unbelievable. I mean, it's the guy with the highest power it's the president of the United States. You could feel nothing but be honored. It was awesome.
Yeah,
it was absolutely awesome.
That was really cool too. I remember like during when we were playing, because we were only supposed to play like
30 minutes.
30 minutes, and we ended up playing an hour because President was running behind.
Yeah,
and I remember
other things.
I remember looking around the stage thinking, "Oh, this is really, you know, like Aldean said, like another thing that, I mean,
when you think you've done everything, you're like, we've never done this before."
Yeah, it was really fun.
Let's get one last one in.
Yeah, let's go. Get a juicy one, Kurt, man.
Hi, guys. My name is Kimberly from Palm Bay, Florida. And I am wondering, in the song A Little More Summertime, is Jason saying a little BS? Because every time my mom hears this song, she's insisting that's what she hears, and we have this argument all the time. Please settle it for us.
I'm
Thank you.
confused, actually.
A little BS?
A little BS. Is anybody...
That's Wendell's song. Wendell Mobley's co-writer, and Tony Martin wrote that song.
Pull up the lyric. You could Google the lyrics.
A little
more summertime.
Well, I can tell you that he's not saying that, but I don't even know what.
No. I'm trying to think what line it is.
I don't know.
Because when we do rounds,
I'm trying to sing it in my head.
Because I sing it with Wendell when we do rounds.
I don't know.
Just a little bit longer.
I don't know.
I can answer this quick. The song does not say BS.
Okay, that's
So if you, whenever in doubt, just Google little more summertime lyric and
Watch
follow
the
along.
video.
Not that they're always right either, but
But it's funny how people.
She had to be more specific. Is it a verse thing or a chorus thing?
But
Neil,
she wasn't more specific.
I know it.
But it's funny how people hear different things. There's one song, like remember "Witchy Woman," like it's an old song.
Yeah.
Witchy Woman. Okay, so there was a kid in our neighborhood. His name was Richie Womack, and we convinced this kid for years that they were singing "Ooh, Richie Womack, see how." And it was great, and he believed it for years. It's amazing.
So you know,
he did.
So Tombo Martin, shout out Buck Commander. So Tombo, take a little ride. He always thought it said, "Slide your pretty little cell phone over." Cell phone.
Your pretty little
and
cell phone?
Slide your little
Look at my
pretty
pretty
little
cell
phone over. And Tombo's like, "Slide your pretty little cell phone over."
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's actually would be a great bit. We should have listeners.
and if
call
you've
in
ever
there.
met Tombo, you'll completely understand that.
Pretty little cell.
Pretty little cell phone over.
You could see how that would happen.
So
You could see how that would
it
happen.
also depends on like drugs people have done over the years and different things.
Exactly.
You know, so
I looked up the lyric. I looked up the lyrics a little more summertime.
What you got? You got a next one?
I got
Next
something.
question.
I don't know what they are.
I got to get the BS thing out of my head.
I should have previewed these.
Hey guys, my name's Addison and I'm from Minnesota. I was actually a stagehand when you guys were here 2 years ago at Treasure Island Casino. I was curious if you guys have ever had a song that you wish that you had wrote, or if Jason's ever had a song that he wished that he would have cut. And Fly Over States is my favorite country song of all time, so thanks for that, Thrash.
Ooh, and he called you by Thrash.
Thrash. He's in the circle.
You probably get that question a lot, actually. A song that you wish you would have cut. First of all, do you remember giving this guy a note? Probably not.
No. I mean, I'm not going to lie. No. I mean,
but
listen, honestly, like, and I don't mean that to be like
No, of course
an ass, but it's like you meet so many people and, you know, and it's like, I am horrible with names. I'm great with faces. So if I see somebody, I'll be like, I met you at so-and-so and so-and-so. I don't know your name or any of that stuff. But in those kind of situations, I mean, you know, I don't know. We're getting ready to go play a show and people are trying to talk to you. And I'm like, man, you're in the zone a little bit. So you just never know. But I would say, you know, songs that I wish I'd cut. I mean, man, I hear songs all the time that I'm like, dude, that's killer. You know, it's really good. I mean, I remember hearing like Hillbilly Deluxe, Brooks and Dunn. You know, kind of like swampy, cool ass thing, and we had that as our intro music for a year or two on the road. You know, it's like you hear things like that, and you're like, God, man, that's cool. You know, but you never got a chance at it. Now, there's been a couple that have been pitched to me that I turned down that went on to be hits. The one that I really sticks out was a song called "Drunk on You" that Luke had. Girl, you make my speakers go boom boom. They pitched me that. And I remember being on a plane but like we were trying to narrow it down. We had a couple more songs. I'm like, I don't know. It just kind of didn't go what we were doing at the time. Luke cuts it, has a big hit with it, So, I mean, there's always those kind of things.
yeah, we talked about this too. Like Jake Owen had a chance to cut Big Green Tractor.
Yep.
And it's just, I've heard you say this, and I think it's true. They usually land where they're supposed to.
And I do believe that, man. I think as singers, as artists, if you really are honest with yourself when listening to something, I can listen to a song and go, That's my thing. That's what I do. That's what I do well, and I'm going to kill that. And then there's other things where you're like, that's a little bit of a stretch, and I don't like what it says there, but I don't like that melody, but it's kind of like whatever. And so I think as singers, it's like we know that, like deep down where it's like, damn, it's close, but it's not quite that, you know? And so Jake Owen had Big Green Tractor, and we kind of had the backup hold on it, and I think they were kind of pressing him like, hey, Aldean wants to cut this, and like, are you going to cut it or not? And I think he kind of pulled off of it. It's like, I'm a Florida kid, like this ain't really my thing. And as soon as he did, I was all over that thing, and to this day, it's been our 4 weeks at number one. It's our longest number one, and even that song is like a little tongue-in-cheeky. Like for what we do now, like I don't know that I would cut that song. And I even fought Knox on that song back in the day.
Yeah, we talked a little bit.
Yeah, he talked about that.
I just wanted, I was in a spot of like, I want to just cut like, I just knew like we were going to get one crack at this thing, man. So like I wanted to go in and cut things that I thought were cool, that I wanted to go out and sing, and things that just, and it wasn't.
You were still cool after Big Green Tractor. It made you even cooler, bud.
I know, but it was really hard to sing like, some of those lyrics and stuff, because it's just not typically what we do. And Hicktown had a little bit of that too, so, but yeah, big record, man. That was a game changer for sure.
Let's maybe dial it in or end with this. What you watching these days? What you got on the Netflix queue?
Love this question.
I know.
Oh,
we need to talk more about this kind of stuff.
I know. I love it. I mean, it's usually what our conversation is anyway. Oh my gosh, have you seen such
so
and such? So
here's where I'm at now in life, just in general, right? So my wife watches.
Watching what Brittany wants.
Well, she watches, we have some things that we like to watch together, and then there's certain things that it's like, she watches, and I've kind of just been in the room, and now I've gotten sucked into that shit.
You don't do the chick flick thing, right?
No, but it's like shows like
reality shows. Probably
I'm a sucker for like a reality show when there's a bunch of drama going on. Mm-hmm. So like Jersey Shore, and when everything's cool and they're having fun, I'm like whatever. But as soon as they start fighting and throwing like wine bottles and shit, I'm like, what's that all about? And then I'm in. And so she suckers me in on this stuff, Vanderpump Rules and stuff like that. So I sit there and watch that, and then I have like my iPad right here with the Braves game on. And so I kind of keep up with that while I'm checking the score. And then when she goes to bed kind of early. And then, I sit in there and watch like 1923 or Landman or like those kind of things. And
I haven't seen the new season of 1923. Is it good?
It's good. It's the last season. Get ready. It's over after this.
Really?
Yeah, man. I was so pissed.
I love the first season. It was great.
First season's great. This season's great, but then it's just like it ends, and then you're going,
oh, awesome. Find a new show. Yeah.
So Landman lost me. I was into
really?
I
just love Billy Bob Thornton. Billy Bob Thornton.
That's the only reason I was watching it.
Yeah,
because of him. I'm watching Billy Bob Thornton because I love him.
He's awesome.
But it started getting so weird between him and his daughter, and it got so freaking perverted. And I'm like, I can't watch this. No kid talks to their dad that way and says those words. It's not going to happen.
Well, they're probably.
I'm not going to do it.
Hollywood.
I know it, but they lost me. I'm into mob land now.
They're bringing back Ted Lasso.
I've watched like an episode. I haven't gotten into that, but
really liking Mobland.
Mobland's good.
But I love Tom Hardy.
You know what my favorite show is? I might have said this last time. My favorite show on TV is Dark Side of the Ring. You know this show.
Yeah.
80s kid, grew up a wrestling fan. It's like the behind the music of the wrestling world. And it comes on Vice. It's awesome. It's like wrestlers that I grew up and
it's great.
It's awesome that they.
What would you say if somebody wanted to come to you and go, we want to do a reality show at your house?
They have already.
Yeah. Oh, it's happened
multiple times.
Are you serious?
Yeah. That's why we don't have a reality show.
That's amazing.
I always tell them, my life's good. I'm not going to let you guys fuck it up and come in and bring a lot of drama. And, like I don't want that.
The fans want it.
The only way I would ever do it is if it was centered around our family. We had control of it to where, you're not creating these storylines to stir up drama and bullshit. Like if you want to see us in our element doing what we're doing, maybe. but I'm not going to let you come in and just like wreck my family to make a TV show. It's not going to happen. So that's kind of why it hasn't happened, but they've approached us multiple times. So
you could do Naked and Afraid.
I don't understand why you got to be naked. Why can't I just have a bathing suit on and be afraid? You know?
Yeah. I'd be so afraid.
True. Why can't I wear flip-flops and a, I don't know, Speedo and be afraid? Or what? I mean, you wouldn't want to see that on TV either, but I don't understand why you got to be naked, just, you know,
what are you
piece hanging.
What are you into, Kalo? What are you watching these days?
We're catching up on Better Call Saul. We went back.
Oh, that's a good one.
Got one.
Wow, you're
maybe
way behind.
like 9 more episodes.
It's like the other day when I went back and started
but I'm
watching
watching it
old,
with Rachel. Yeah,
okay.
old episodes of Family Ties. Like, you're going way back.
Way back. Way back.
Nothing will ever beat Breaking Bad.
Well,
ever.
Rachel hadn't seen Breaking Bad, so we started
nothing
there.
ever.
And then we went
the
to
writing is brilliant.
What was the show we watched that we love so much? Kingdom. The UFC thing. Kingdom. Right?
Really good.
Yeah,
really good.
It's pretty good.
What's y'all's deal with wrestling?
Well, we grew up in the 80s, man. It was.
I know. I did too.
No, you grew up in the 60s.
It was huge.
Really? Seriously? I was born in the 60s.
I was born in the 70s.
God damn
Cut.
Jim, thanks for being with us. That was your last
idea
episode.
was it to have him on today?
That's amazing.
Oh my gosh. We'll probably, Emma got anything else? We should probably wrap this thing up.
Let's wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up.
Hey, thanks for having me. Congrats on 50 episodes, all right?
We're a little past 50. We've gone the 1 year mark. Which
1 year.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I never thought you guys make it past 2 months, so this is awesome.
Can we have you on more and talk about sports more?
For sure.
Please.
Dude, if I'm in town,
we need some ratings bumps.
I definitely think you guys need me for
finally he speaks the truth.
Oh my gosh.
It depends on who you poll on Instagram. How, it could go either way, but I'm down to come kick it. I love doing this with you guys, man.
We're
Thank
so
you very
appreciative
much for coming.
Yeah,
We've said this a million times. This is kind of just like our talk in the Whiskey River anyway. So we're just putting it on film. If you're watching on YouTube, leave us some comments. We know Ed will. Keep the comments coming.
Who's Ed?
Ed's one of our super fans.
Yeah,
He's fantastic.
Cool guy.
He's awesome.
We'll probably have him on at some point if he'll
you
come here and do it.
You should suss that guy out. Make sure
Ed's awesome.
You start sending out flyers, man. You never know who you're gonna get. Ed. Love you, buddy. I'm sure you're awesome. We're gonna do a background check before you bring you on.
But give us the 5 stars, download Spotify, do all that stuff. We're thankful for our sponsors. We got Original Glory. We've got Patriot Mobile.
eSpaces,
and
baby.
Don't forget the wellness
new
company.
one, yes.
This is a big one. Go to their website.
Are they our sponsor? We're gonna just have like a grab bag of like medicine.
We are now.
It's gonna be like Elvis.
Put the code.
Absolutely.
Just give us a bunch of stuff, and we just show up at the water cooler and go, "I need a Z-Pack."
Don't take it all at one time.
Yeah, I guarantee we will.
For what we do, honestly, all joking aside, that's really cool.
100%. Jason, we're thankful for having you.
Thanks, buddy.
Appreciate you guys, man.
All right,
Always
this is
fun.
a Try That in a Small Town podcast. Thanks, guys.
Make sure to follow along, subscribe, share, rate the show, and check out our merch at trythatinasmalltown.com.